Yes, welcome back for technically our third episode of Just for Kicks. I am Ron, joined with by Brian. How are you, Brian? It's been a long time.
Yeah, it's been a long time. I didn't think we were gonna do this again, but
Yes,
hey,
since
I'm great.
yes, since World Cup, we've been anxious to get it going, and here we are. We'll go through some changes here and there, get another panelist on, so that way you are good to go with somebody that really has the soccer mind or the football mind, as it is known all over the world, except for
well,
here in the United States.
well, I'm thankful to be here. Appreciate it for the trust, and hopefully we'll have a good show.
Yeah, we're going to talk about the UEFA. We are in the semifinals. I mean, this is basically a tournament champions. These teams are incredible teams. I don't know, is there any team that is really weaker and doesn't belong in this league? I mean, this is incredible. I mean, top to bottom, it's pretty much it's a dogfight.
It's not only the things, but also their history. So yeah, pretty much all the teams that play this competition, they have a lot of history backgrounds, and obviously they have a very top high level at the moment.
Right. So all right, so we have four teams remaining out of all those great teams, teams that are very well known, and like Barcelona, they are all gone. What we have left is Real Madrid, Manchester City, Milan, and Inter Milan. I mean, this is exciting. I mean, when you think about rivalries, I mean, you talk about Milan. It's a battle for the city right here.
Also, it's very actually the Italian my Italian fellows are very fortunate to see this because it's been more than a decade since an Italian team it's been especially a team from Milan been on a final. If I'm not mistaken, the last time the Inter, for example, was the last team of Milan in a final was in
Right.
2010.
Wow.
So it's a big deal for them.
Yeah, I mean, so this is going to end really a 13-year drought for that city because one of them is going to make it. So, I mean, that's exciting that's going to be. Look, I mean, there are fans that are obsessed, but when you're talking about football, I mean, these fans are just crazed with this game. I mean, it just doesn't end. They live it. They bleed it, and now they're going to have definitely a team in there to to go to the championship.
It's for from people from Milan sitting is either Inter or Milan. This again, this is another reason why they're very happy because usually in the last decade the team of Italy has been Juventus.
Right.
They bought Cristiano Ronaldo. Cristiano Ronaldo came to Juventus, so all the eyes were on the Juventus. So now Inter and Milan semifinal, so that brings the eye of the war again to their city.
Right. Okay. So let's find out where these teams, were last. So in the quarterfinals, seeming we're talking about, the two Milan teams. Who did Inter Milan beat to get here?
So it was pretty exciting. Since the round 16, they play against Porto, team from Portugal. Actually, it's one of the two main teams in Portugal,
Right.
and it was very shock game because uh, Inter didn't win until the second game. The first game they got a draw 0-0, and
Yep.
Inter won the second game by just 1-0, and that's it.
Yeah. So a lone goal for the whole both legs.
Yes, so it was very interesting to see uh, Inter winning that game because again it was very even. You know, it was one of those games where if you miss a chance, then you probably miss the match. So they beat Porto for the round 16, a very equalizer games, And for the quarterfinal, they bet, and that was very interesting because they both Inter beat both main teams of Portugal, because in the round 16 they beat uh, Porto. In the quarterfinals they beat Benfica, which is the other main team of Porto.
Right.
Again, another very hard game. The aggregate was 5-3. Um, it was pretty difficult for Inter in both round 16 and quarterfinals. But they made it. They made it, and that's what matters.
Yeah, I mean, they scored 16 goals so far in this tournament, which puts them seventh overall. Um, so that says a lot about their defense, and even more about the goaltender. Because if I'm not mistaken, they have the most saves in the tournament right now.
Yes.
So I mean that tells you how good the goaltender has been. The goalkeeper. I'm still thinking hockey over here. So the goalkeeper has really stepped up, and probably, if Inter wins it all, you would think that the goalkeeper would win as best player. I mean, he'd have to be at this point.
And not only that, but also something that I really want to mention, and I want to give Inter credit for this. On the group stage, they didn't have a very easy group stage. They have Bayern Munich, which is the top team of Germany. They
Right.
have Barcelona. They have Inter.
Yeah.
So those three teams were in the same group. And
Right.
before the World Cup, Inter de Milan was the one who kicked Barcelona out.
Yep.
Barcelona couldn't even win the two games, the game in Italy and the game in Spain. So you Inter de Milan has done a very good job in this tournament. Again, it's been 13 years, and they
Right.
do want to go to the final. Obviously, they want to beat the Milan. But again, I just want to mention that out. I want to throw that out there, that they didn't have an easy group stage. People probably will say, "Oh, who are gonna make it to the round 16?" Most of us thought, "Oh, Barcelona and Bayern." But hey, wait a minute. Inter got some good players.
Right. Yeah, and when you look up and down that roster, it isn't just like one guy that has been just doing it. They've been doing it as a group. And you're talking that the goals can come from anywhere, and that makes a team so dangerous when you can keep the ball out of your own goal and then have a variety of players that can get the job done. You never know when that goal is going to come, and anybody can do it. And that's what makes this team so interesting, because of that balance. And it's like, you look at some of the, like, one of the other teams, and that is Manchester. All the goals are coming from the same guy. But in this case, Inter is just, it's a balanced team, and that's, if you can keep it out of your own goal and get a balanced attack, that's probably the best way to win.
Exactly. If you wanna make sure you keep the ball as much as possible in the oldest team goalkeeper, so that way you can win the match. And again, they got good players. They got Lautaro Martinez, which is an Argentinian player. They got Romelu Lukaku. They got Seco. So they do have they got the tools, I would say, to compete Milan. And I think if they still playing the way they are playing, I will put them in the final. But we can talk about that
Yeah.
later on. But yes, they do have the potential. They play very well. They play as a team, and I think they have the potential to be on the final.
Yeah, and the team that they're playing against, Milan, I'm sure they're very familiar with Milan, and they again they only had 15 goals in this tournament, which is the least amount by all the teams that are remaining. Um, do they have enough of offense to even get this done?
Listen, I know me. So I don't wanna get a lot of credit. So I know what Milan means to a lot of people out there in the soccer world, because of their history.
Yeah.
So usually people when talk about Milan, obviously they talk, they don't talk about facts, but from their heart. But to be honest, talking about from my point of view, I don't think they have the same potential, or the players, they don't have the same potential, uh, like Inter. No,
Yeah,
most of Milan's players, okay, they're young, you know, um, so they are kind of like adapting, to because they're young, they have a long career to go. But like I'm looking at the screen right now, and I see Giroud, which is a top player, right?
right.
But I don't think that's enough. I don't think one player can make. I'm the type of person who thinks that one player cannot make it all. So me personally, I think they do have good players, but compared to Inter, they're not that good, in my own opinion.
Yeah,
But anything could happen. But me personally, they don't have the same. The players don't have same potential as the.
yeah. They got that one guy, and and it's not like I don't want to put him down in any way, but it's not like having that Messi. You know,
Right,
it because like he can make a difference, obviously. I
right,
mean, but I mean he's good, but he can't carry the whole team to a championship,
right.
and that's the tough part. Um, they were 17th in possession percentage with 49.1. They weren't last in this out of the four. That was Inter Milan. So it's interesting how these two teams are meeting, and they've had the least amount of possession time. But to me, that balanced attack is the difference maker. And so I mean, we'll see what happens. I mean, you never know. They have to play the game, so yeah, somebody is always going to step up at some point, and it's just which player from which team.
It's pretty interesting because they kind of play the same. On the round 16, Milan beat Tottenham, the Spurs, by
Yep.
just 1-0. Again, same thing like Inter. The difference was one goal. Pretty tough. Both games were tough. And the quarterfinal, they actually played Napoli, another Italian team, and that was again pretty tough game. And I actually watched that game, and they Napoli almost beat Milan. You know, but again, Milan, they stayed with it. They fought really hard, and obviously they ended up winning the game. But the I was looking at the mid field. Milan don't have that much potential of players like Inter, so that
Right.
could be a
Yes.
key. That could be a key for Inter to hurt Milan. You know what I'm saying? In the
Yeah,
middle,
because
in the
that
midfield.
could end up being more of a possession game for Inter in this
Right.
case.
Yes, that's an advantage for
That's
Inter.
a whole zone that they dominate over Milan, and
Right.
that means a lot.
And
Um,
another thing that I saw when I was watching the game Napoli and in Milan, their strikers, they miss a lot of chances, but a lot of chances. I think Giroud missed a penalty. So in these type of games, you can't be missing a chance that you get, because at the end of the
no.
day, you ended up paying for it. So me personally, I put Inter as the favorite. Again, it's gonna be a very tough and interesting game. But me personally, I put Inter as the favorite team for this semifinal.
Yes. Eric is on, and he has a question. Brian, do you have an opinion on the Messi suspension?
I do have an opinion on the Messi suspension. I don't know if you want me to talk about it now or
Yeah,
later.
go ahead. Yeah. No.
I think Messi made a mistake. Obviously, PSG is no Barcelona. Messi, when he was in Barcelona, he used to be the boss. That's what everybody say, because the history that he got. But
Yeah.
PSG is another thing, because he didn't grow up over there. He and I think as just because you're a world champion, just because you got history, doesn't mean that you are above of your team. You gotta follow the
Right.
rules, just like any jobs. If I go to my job, I gotta follow my boss rule. I cannot do anything I want just because I'm a good worker. So I think Messi made a mistake, and I think he recorded himself apologizing, and he said it was a misunderstanding. He thought they got the day off and all of that. But again, I think Messi, just because he's Messi, doesn't mean that he do whatever he wants to do. And I think so. If I'm not mistaken, he's not gonna be with PSG at the end of the season. He's gonna go out. A lot of people are saying he's going to Saudi Arabia, going to play with not with Cristiano Ronaldo, but the opposite team of what Cristiano
Ah,
Ronaldo plays. Those are rumors. Another rumors are saying that he's coming back to Barcelona, which I don't think so because Barcelona is really poor right now. And obviously, you still got the rumor that he's coming to MLS, which I doubt it, but we'll see.
he's gonna follow the money, Brian.
So obviously, yeah, that's actually that is the most close to the reality. He's going to Saudi Arabia, but his father already said that he's no longer going to continue with PSG. He's after the contract's gone. I think his contract it's over on July. He won't play for PSG no more.
Right. Well, there you go, Eric. There's a good explanation right there, and I tend to agree with what Brian says. He is a player; he isn't the boss, and he has to follow the rules like everybody else. And that's how it should be. Sometimes you get crappy bosses. I heard you got a new one, by the way. Yeah, Eric, that's you.
and again, I think some people are mad at PSG. I don't know why. Like I say, PSG is no Barcelona. Messi didn't
Yeah,
grow up there. You know, the fans of PSG won't like Messi as the Barcelona's fans like Messi.
yeah,
Especially because Messi, in the 2 years that he's been there, he hasn't given them a Champions League, which is the tournament that we're talking about.
right.
PSG has zero Champions League in their history. So, so I mean,
You
again,
didn't get it done. Didn't get it done. So, I mean, that's just it. This is what I'm saying about the fans. They have this mentality. It's a craze. It's an obsession. And if you don't produce that championship, then you're not good enough. Period. And he was brought in there for a reason, and it didn't materialize. So when he leaves, the fans are not going to like him.
exactly. And this is something that really it's the reality now. Seeing Ronaldo in Saudi Arabia now, if that happens, Messi going to Saudi Arabia, it's the end of an era. That's
Yeah,
it. It's
yeah,
he won't be in Europe no more. Ronaldo won't be in Europe no more. Now we're just gonna be arguing about either Haaland or Mbappe.
yeah. That's not so bad. That's not so bad. I'm looking at those goals by Haaland, and you know how I feel about Mbappe being in that World Cup. That small little tournament. That happens every 4 years or so.
And the next one is here in the United States.
Yes, yes. I'm look forward to that. Hopefully, the United States can get out of their own way, though. All right, so back to the UEFA. We still have two more teams to talk about.
And
Um,
this is the most attractive game of the
yes,
year.
yes. This is an exciting one because I've already changed my mind who I chose to win like a dozen times. I swear, it's just like I'm flip flopping more than a fish, out of water. So let's talk Real Madrid, and they got some solid players here. Junior Rodrigo, Benzema,
Benzema, yes.
Asensio, and Modric, just to name a few. I mean, this team's got a lot of good players.
This thing is actually called the king of the tournament because they got they got the Real Madrid has more Champions League than any other teams. They got 14, and they actually the current champion right now. They won last year, so they are defending the title.
Yeah,
The Real Madrid, like I said, is the king of this tournament. They got 14s. Nobody got more cups than them in this tournament.
Yeah.
And last year, actually, these two teams faces in the same in the same leg, the semifinal.
Yes.
And Man City controlled pretty much two games, and in only 4 minutes, Real Madrid overturned the score.
Yes. Yes. And it
So,
could happen that quick.
so you have a spectacular Rodrigo who scored 2 goals last year, and right now Karim Benzema is in a great shape. He's still in great shape. You got Vinicius, who is every year. I feel like this dude is always getting better. We talk about Mbappe. We talk about Haaland, but somebody that we need to
Right.
put in the table. It's Vinicius Junior, this Brazilian boy, who is always showing potential. You know, he's very fast. He got dribbling, and he obviously assists very well. So that is going to be another test or another good opportunity to him to perform very well and to shut them out of the ones who criticize him.
Yeah, I mean, look, we know what happened to Manchester City last year. What does Manchester City have to do to avoid that again?
So I think so. To me personally, even though when, for example, if Man City was playing at the Real Madrid stadium, even though it's still a pitch, still 11 against 11. But I think public plays a big role on the atmosphere. I think the fans, I think the chants, I think the all the atmosphere that you live in the stadium can play a very important role. So I think what happened was when Man City saw that Real Madrid overturned the score, when they saw all the public chanting, celebrating, me personally, I think they got scared. This is what I think. Again, I cannot find any explanation of what happened. I think they got scared. But also, let me tell you this though. I think the coach of Man City, thought he had the he thought he had the semifinal in his pocket because he took. I don't know if you hear about Kevin De Bruyne. He's a very good midfielder,
Hmm.
and about 85 minutes before Real Madrid scored the 3 goals, he took him out
Right.
and he put another player. So he thought,
Yeah.
oh, it's gone already. We're in the final, and you cannot do that. You can do that with a team that never gives up. You know what I'm saying?
No, and that's the thing. I mean, to give somebody a rest is one thing, but at that point, why? You just do what you keep doing, and until you have no choice but to take them out.
I think the substitution have something to do with it. I think if he will keep the player that he substituted last year, probably Man City will play the final. So
Yeah.
I think the coach learned a very good lesson not to substitute their player, the key players, until the referee says the match is gone.
Right. Yeah, and that is psychological on a team as well, in the players, and then future games as well. So there might be an intimidation factor, without them even realizing it once they step onto that field against Real Madrid again. And that could be in the back of their head. And we know through history of all the sports that these things tend to come back, and they could wreak havoc. And well, I mean, it'll be an interesting um, match for
I mean,
sure.
like you say, I mean, you saw the Super Bowl again.
Right.
We thought about the Eagles winning the Super Bowl. They had the game last minute. They made a mistake and they
That's
lost.
all it takes.
So you can't risk it. And I think when we talk about Man City, I mean they got good players. They got Haaland. But they got Mars. They got Kevin De Bruyne. Another advantage that the Man City had is their second game. It's going to be in England, so
Yeah.
that might play out for them. Haaland wasn't there last year. Man City last year they misses a lot of chance too. Foden missing a lot of chance. Relic missed a lot of chances. And I tell you what though, those chances that those both players miss, Haaland he doesn't really usually miss those.
No, he's got 12 goals in the tournament so far, and and I would say, oh well, you can't leave it all up to one guy, but they really don't have just one guy. They have a lot of capable players. Mahrez, Alvarez, Flaherty, Ruben Diaz is there. So they have a lot of quality players. So it's not just one guy doing it all, but he can tilt a field.
No, not even their striker, but also their defense. You got Paul Walker, you got Ake, you got Rodri, you got all these very very good players.
Yeah,
Uh,
Willis has a goal
yeah,
as a defender. I mean,
and,
that's pretty good.
and if you see the midfield, I mean, just Kevin De Bruyne for me, he come as two because he does a very magnificent job on the field. He gives precise passes to the strikers, and seasons, the last 2 seasons, Kevin De Bruyne will send a lot of passes, and again, Foden will miss them, Grealish will miss them, Mars will miss them. But now you have Haaland, you have a connection there. You have Haaland, then you got Kevin De Bruyne, and they connect very well. It's just like Benzema and Vinicius. They both connect very well. They,
Now,
they both need each other.
can you see, maybe a defender just sticking with Holland by his side so that way he doesn't get free? I mean,
Vinicius, Vinicius, you talking about? Oh, you Haaland.
Holland. Do you see one of the Real Madrid defenders maybe shadowing him so that way he doesn't get open?
I think what the coach might do, and this is my personal opinion. Again, what Real Madrid coach would do. You got Militao and you got Alaba, which are very very tall, very big. One is Brazilian, one is German. I'm thinking what the coach is gonna do is try to tell them, cover Haaland both. It's gonna take both to
Yeah.
cover Haaland or try to always be chasing Haaland either way. To be honest, personally, I don't think so. This is just me. I mean, if it was two defense, probably yeah, but just one, you gotta be smart. You gotta be smart. You gotta be fast.
Yeah.
And right now, I mean, Real Madrid defense are very good. Don't get me wrong, but I don't see the guy. I don't see the guy at the same level as Haaland.
All right. Oh, that's interesting. So, all right. So there's the four teams. We got the two matches. Who do you like in Inter versus Milan?
Well, me personally, I think I know a lot of people want Milan be in the final because because of their history. Well, me personally, I think Inter is gonna make it. Inter.
Yeah, that's who I have as well. I just think the depth is just too good for Milan at this point. So I went Inter as well. In fact, I think they're going to win both legs.
Well, you know, this is the funny thing though. You know how Madrid's going to England and see Man
Yeah,
City's
these
going
guys
to
don't have to
Spain.
go very far.
They're playing in the same stadium.
Right.
They're playing in the same stadium.
So
So I don't
they
think
just switch sides. Yeah.
so. But again, I think so. I don't think that. I think the first game is gonna be a tie, and the second way again, Inter's. Me personally, they're probably gonna go to extra time, and Inter's gonna win in the extra time.
Oh, I'm going to stick to my guns. I'm going to say Inter Milan is going to win both those games, 1-0, 2-1. That's my picks. Bold predictions. Bold predictions. Elizabeth is on. She says hello. Thank you for being here, Elizabeth. And of course, Eric is there with his bold predictions. Eric, if you want to jump in and throw your prediction on Inter Milan versus Milan, uh, by all means, go ahead. It would be interesting to see your picks.
And this is a big thing again for. I wanna keep saying it. A big thing for Italy. I mean, even in the quarterfinal, you had Napoli, you had Milan, and you had Inter. Three Italian teams.
Right.
We didn't see that in a long time.
Yeah.
It
Hey,
was very ironic because Italy didn't play the World Cup, but the Italian teams are growing up again. They're coming out again, and that's pretty good.
Yeah, it's on an upturn for Italy, and I mean, it's only a matter of time before they win one. It could be this time. It could be. I mean, they got two teams in it, so they got just as good a shot as anybody.
And there's another tournament too that is called uh, Europa League, and that's just a fake Champions League, people call it. And you got Roma there. Roma is another Italian
Right,
team.
right.
So you got Italian teams, growing up, coming back again, and I think that that's good because in the last 10 years you will hear only about Juventus, Juventus, Juventus.
Yeah.
Now and seeing all these Italian things, growing up, I mean, it's just amazing.
Yeah, it's certainly going to be, two great matches, to be honest with you. I mean, you couldn't ask for much more as a football fan. I mean, the matches that you're going to get, I mean, you know how rivalries get. And, you know, with two teams from the same city, they want to claim that city. And it is just going to be relentless in that game. And I'm looking forward to both of these. So it will be very worth watching. I mean, this isn't going to be like a David versus a Goliath thing. This is two solid teams going up against each other, and that should be
for,
awesome.
for, for both games, for both semifinals, it's gonna be a very even game.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. And frankly, we can predict all we want, but these teams are so close. It's going to be a dogfight. It's going to be a dogfight. So, but I still think we're right. All right, before we go to the next match, let's go over what we are, who we are, and where we are. So we are just for kicks. I'm Ron, and this is Brian by my side over there. We are on Rhode Island Broadcasting on YouTube at Rhode Island Broadcasting, Facebook at Rhode Island Broadcasting, Twitter at Broadcasting RI, and of course, Twitch at RI underscore broadcasting. Um, Please, by all means, stick with us, throw your comments down there, and we always post them up and mention, the comments. Eric took the easy way out and went with what you said, Brian, about Inter, so he went Inter. Um, but you know, he had to hear it first. Had to hear it first. Just saying. Just saying. Me and Eric go at it all the time with predictions on Sports Unfolded, and I got to tell you, I always have the advantage. So he's not here to defend himself. He's only in the chat, so he'll have to do that, remotely sometime. All right, so going into the second semifinal match, we have Real Madrid and Manchester City. Who do you like in this?
So listen, before I tell you who I think is gonna win and who do I like, I gotta say something that I forgot to say. We talk about strikers, we talk about midfield, we talk about Luka Modric, Tony Cross, but somebody that I do want to give credit is the goalkeeper of Real Madrid, Courtois,
Mm,
the Belgian goalkeeper. He has played a very, very important role in order to Madrid to get where Real Madrid is at right now. And he played a very fundamental role too last year in the semifinal with Man City. He saved a lot of chances. So so probably Haaland won't have good defense, but I think he's gonna face a great goalkeeper. So we'll see. And uh, to tell you who do I really like, to be honest, me personally, I don't like Real Madrid. I think they are a very great team. I think they are the king of this tournament, and I think the history got their background history is really great, but I just don't like them. Okay, I don't like them. So obviously, I go with Man City. I go with Man City, and if you ask me who do I think is gonna win, I think Man City coach Guardiola learned a lesson last year, and I think he got Haaland, and I'm gonna trust Haaland. So I'm gonna give a second opportunity to Man City, and hopefully they beat Real Madrid.
Okay, so my pick in all of this is we're gonna go Real Madrid because I know what it's like when you lose a game to the same team over and over again. I know what that is like. And I know the issue they had last year is going to come back and haunt them once again. I do not think the coach learned his lesson. I do think he's going to make another coaching mistake, and it is going to cost them again. And I am going with Real Madrid because of that.
Well, it's very reasonable. I mean, Real Madrid knows how to play this game. They're the king of this tournament. They're the Magic Knights, they call it. I think it might happen. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I get frustrated every time. Like Liverpool, for example, I like Liverpool, and they disappointed. I'm very disappointed. They didn't compete Real Madrid.
Right.
Chelsea didn't compete Real Madrid. So I mean, so it might happen, but again, me personally, I trust Haaland, but again, it's gonna be a very even game.
Yeah. No, absolutely. I think this is set up to be, a great semifinals match. And Eric said that this is the year of upsets, so I guess he's going Manchester City. Um, it is a year of upsets, but it might not be this upset. It could be the next round that the upset is in.
And Manny, I'm pretty sure Manny's gonna be watching this. He's a Real Madrid fan, so
Yep.
we both watched the semifinal last year together. We watched the final, and I had to see him jumping around and making fun and laughing. So I really didn't like that. So I don't want that to happen again. So let's see what happens.
Yeah, there's nothing worse than somebody that does that to you every year. It's that's a tough one. I don't. Like I said, I flip flopped on this one like a dozen times today. That was actually my 13th because if you look, if you can see it, I actually have Man City right here encircled, and I switched again. so I mean, this is what I've been doing all day, just flip flopping back and forth. I couldn't make a decision. Well, the decision is final now. so I mean, it's still going to be a great game no matter who wins. um you know it's just whether Manny's going to be jumping up and down or not. I think that's where it comes down to. He might still be jumping up and down, but it might be in anger.
Yeah.
How'd you let up that goal? So that's what we're here for, to break down the games and to give our reasons for the picks, and I think we did that. Now the fans just have to decide what they feel, and go from there. So Manny, so what do we have to look forward to? I know June 10th is the championship. Um, I mean, is this going to be a best tournament of the year kind of thing, or do we have something to look forward to after
Well,
June 10th?
so if I'm not mistaken, we'll have Copa America after we will go back with countries again. So, and if I'm not mistaken, it's gonna be here in the U.S.
Yep.
So that's next for the soccer. Like as it usually happens, and then we got the Gold Cup, which is
Yep.
usually a, a local tournament. United States, Mexico, you got Canada, you got the
Right.
Central America teams, and I'm very excited because my country it's in that tournament. So
Great.
it's going to be a very good summer.
Yeah. So we do have lots to look forward to, and that means we're gonna have to come back here. We're gonna have to come back
Definitely.
on,
And I hope we have a show before the final.
Yes, that's what I was thinking. We will be on before that final at some point.
Right.
Probably within 2 or 3 days of it.
Yeah.
We'll plan that out and we'll get it out there, and then we'll put a post on Rhode Island Broadcasting on when we will return. And because I know the first couple of shows that we did really went over pretty well, and now we want to build on that this year, and we want this show to be just as popular as Sports Unfolded, the flagship of our sports world. So I think with the worldwide viewers that we have, I think this is going to grow to something great, and we want all the fans that are watching now and will be watching this, to join us on this journey. So make sure you follow us on Rhode Island Broadcasting on YouTube and Facebook, and also Twitch at RI_broadcasting and Twitter at broadcasting RI, and you'll find out everything. And you can even go to Sports Unfolded on Facebook and Twitter and all of those, Instagram, and you can follow Sports Unfolded as well, because that's what this show derived from, and now it's going to stand on its own and be dominant in the sports world. Dominant. So, Bryan, thank you so much for being here. Thank you, Elizabeth. Thank you, Eric. Um, for watching live, and there's also been a couple of others that have watched live that didn't comment. Throw some comments down there. Share the show. Because if you're sharing, you're caring, and that will get to a lot of other viewers. And before you know it, then we'll be the most popular football show in the world. That's the way I look at it. Thank you, Bryan, for being here, and we'll see you next time on Just for Kicks.
Thank you, Ron.